Thanks, Jane, for coming and having a chat with us. It's going to be great to sort of share some of your insights with your position as Global Head of Medical Information at Bayer. You're quite a rare candidate because you've spent 20 years at the same company, being Bayer, and you've done it all in the same sort of area, as in drug safety and MedInfo. What was it that drew you to a career in that area to start with?
Well, what's interesting about that was I actually didn't know that there was such a thing as medical information or drug safety before I joined the pharma industry. I'd never had any other idea about the pharma industry except for a sales rep job. And then I just happened to be speaking to a career consultant when I'd gone for a different job. And they said, you know, there's this area in the pharma company called medical affairs, and people with your kind of background work there and they provide information about medicines, and you might find that interesting. And it was basically the following week that I saw the job at Bayer advertised. So it was kind of a serendipity of circumstances, I guess.
You mentioned that a career consultant helped you make that decision by obviously making you aware of this whole industry you didn't know about. Have you been able to do the same for anyone else?
I have, since I've been working in the area, and I've of course understood all of the different parts of medical affairs and regulatory affairs, clinical research and so on. Since then, I've then been able to speak to quite a lot of people that I've come across in my life to sort of say, look, these things are here. This is what a person with your background could do in the pharma industry. These kind of jobs exist. This is the kind of work that it involves. And I've been able to at least give them the background of what might exist within the pharma industry, which is actually not very easy to find out from the outside. So yeah, I've been able to do that.
Absolutely, that's very true. And what's the interaction between the departments? How do they sort of relate to each other in terms of, you know, MSLs, medical managers, and then you've obviously got PV and drug safety and MedInfo. How do they relate?
It's very important that those relationships are really nurtured and developed, because in a company you really need all of the functions to work together really well to really get the best in terms of your business objectives and the outcomes you're looking for. And MedInfo sort of sits, and PV as well, it sits within a quite central spot, because you're receiving a lot of information from the outside world and you're also interacting with all of the departments within the company. You really have a unique position of being able to guide and give advice and give feedback.
So for someone who is maybe looking to enter in as an entry-level candidate, maybe a pharmacist background, what would the average day of a MedInfo associate look like?
The thing about MedInfo that's very unique about it is the different types of customers that you would speak to. So you might, first of all, get a call from a high-level oncologist asking very specific questions about how to use an oncology drug, perhaps in combination with others that are on the market, or perhaps even asking you off-label information about a particular patient group that they want to treat. Which would need a lot of in-depth knowledge, and you'd need to be able to speak at that level of that health professional to be able to give the information back at the level that they're asking. So you have to keep in mind a lot of things. You have to think of your internal processes. You have to think about asking the right questions when you receive a call or something from a customer. You have to think, is there an underlying issue here that isn't actually being talked about, but perhaps that's the reason why that person has called. So it's really to kind of be able to tease out the right information coming so that you can then give the person what they need back. It's about getting the right information to the right person at the right time.
So how much research would they actually do in a day to stay up to date with all of the changes in industry legislation and also, you know, scientifically?
You definitely need to know of new indications and things like that. Those would be top of mind.
And so what about someone who's been working in the role for a couple of years and they're sort of ready to take a step up? What would you recommend to that person to sort of distinguish themselves from the team and be able to take the leadership position?
You need to be able to discuss with your manager, okay, what do I need to do to get there? What training do I need to take?